So with it, people. So we back with another one. We 51 days from the big fight. 51 days, man. We here. Hey, and it's up. So check it out, man. I've been looking at some film or whatever, and I wanted to talk about how what I feel like Errol Spence can't do in the Terence Crawford fight, because it's something that he does. He got a habit of doing it at times, and he's not gonna be able to do it against Terence Crawford because it plays right into his hands. And I was watching some film or whatever, and I was watching the Ugas fight, the Errol Spence versus Ugas fight, and I noticed that sometimes when because Errol Spence is a fighter that he when he's working on offense, he's he'll get off or whatever, and then he'll transition to defense, and he'll go completely defensive. He'll go 100% offensive and then 100% defensive. So that's how he transitions from offense to defense. He's not really a counter puncher, so he's not looking to throw shots in between your combinations or nothing like that. He's strictly gonna work, and then he's gonna become defensive. He's gonna step out of range, pivot, block, or do whatever he's gonna do after he get done working. And then once you get done working, he's gonna start back working again. He's gonna look on the attack. He's gonna get on the attack, and he's gonna try to figure out where he can start working again. But there's times where Errol Spence can get real greedy, either with his combinations or his transition to offense to defense. So with his combinations, I noticed that it's times where he'll throw 3 and 4 punch combinations, and he'll get countered. Ugas was countering them a lot when he was throwing either 4 or more punches at a time, and Ugas was timing them. And then it was other times where his transition from offense to defense, he'll go on the offensive, and then he'll just stay in that same spot. He won't pivot, or he won't step out of range, and then he'll just immediately go back into offense. And then Ugas was timing him. So I feel like against Terence Crawford, that plays right into his hands, because Terence Crawford's timing is right, it's on point, and he can't do that. He's not going to be able to do that against Terence Crawford. He's going to have to minimize the amount of mistakes that he make like that, to minimize the counters that Terence Crawford is going to hit him with. Because Terence Crawford's going to counter him. I just feel like it's not going to be enough, and Errol Spence got the chin to stand up to the counters that Terence Crawford's going to land on him. You know, it might be 3 or 4 counters around, but I feel like Errol Spence can capitalize on them. But what he can't do is, because I say that he's gonna get a few counters off on Errol Spence, but that's just because of Terence Crawford's mindset on punching in between your combinations and things like that. And Errol being a real active fighter, his volume is high, so he's just gonna get countered just naturally, just because of his work rate. But he has to minimize that by not making the mistakes of getting too greedy on offense, and then having them pauses after he get done working on offense. When Errol Spence is focused and he locked in, and he's not getting greedy, he'll transition from offense to defense real smooth. He'll go, he'll step in, use his jab, walk in on you, and then he'll throw his combinations. He'll start working, and then he'll either step out, pivot, and go completely defensive. And when he do that, he's setting his feet, he's getting his feet right, he's giving you a different angle, and he's ready for any type of return fire after he get done firing, and he's positioning himself on defense for that return fire. But it's like times where he'll go offense, and then he'll just stay in the same spot, and then he'll go on the attack again. And then right when he go on the attack again, that split second, he'll get timed. And then Ugas will hit him with a big shot right in that spot, because it's like he's thinking offensive, pause, offensive, instead of how he usually works when he at his best. He'll go offensive and then transition right back to defense. So I say all that to say, man, he has to minimize the amount of times that Terence Crawford's going to be able to counter him in that fight. like I said, he's gonna get countered naturally just because of the mindset and the approach that Terence Crawford takes. That's his game. He want to counter you and he want to throw in between your shots. But I feel like the few times that he's gonna be able to get that off in the fight, Errol Spence is gonna have the chin to stand up to it. So and even if that's 3 or 4 times around or whatever, I feel like it's not going to be enough to stop Errol Spence. And Errol Spence is just going to be working and working and working and breaking Crawford down round by round. But if it goes from 3 to 4 counters around, or, you know, whatever, maybe 5 around, then you making the mistakes, that's going to bring it from, you know, 3 or 4 to 5 to maybe 7 or 8. And that's when it gets dangerous for Errol Spence. So Errol Spence gonna have to be real careful and make sure he's not greedy in his fight with his combinations and, you know, throwing too many punches at a time. And his transition from offense to defense is gonna have to be on point, because you're gonna have to minimize, like I said, you're gonna have to minimize them moments where Terence Crawford can time that pause when you think offensive and then you get right back on the attack again without getting yourself ready or, you know, being prepared for a return fire. And that's when he's at his best, because like I said, when Errol Spence is offensive, he'll get on the attack, he'll find his range, because he's off of fundamentals, so he's going to make sure he's right and in position to throw punches every time. So when he gets on the attack and go offensive, he's in position to get off. But it's just when he stopped throwing his combination and he stopped working and he don't transition to defense to get himself prepared to go back on an attack, he'll get timed. So he gonna have to clean that up against Terence Crawford, man, because Terence Crawford, that's his game. So, but that's just my thoughts on it, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, man. I'm on the road to 1,000. My new goal is to get to 1,000 before the fight, or at least by the time the fight comes. So tap in with me, man. I'm gone.